Alright guys, there's a lot of talk at the minute of whether or not you should be buying the dip in the CS2 market crash, and whether or not you think you should or you think you shouldn't. I want to showcase 15 different combos here to really put in perspective how much of a drop we've seen in the market over the last couple of days. The one thing to note is I have planned this out a few hours ahead of it going live. There is a chance that within 24 hours, within 40 hours, things have changed. So this is accurate as of the 25th of October at like midday UK time. Let's use this probably as like a gauge to see how much things change moving forward. So as I say, 15 combos, and I am going to be using CS2 for the pricing here because that's where I can get things to be somewhat consistent. There is something to know. If you check like the sites that tell you the different prices at the minute, buff prices are so low compared to like any Western markets because China's in full panic. So is waiting to see if we actually get down to that, but we'll go Western market CS flow to sort of keep things consistent. So the first combination is actually one you guys might be familiar with. This was, or technically still is, my combination. I still have both items. It is gone down almost 45% to the extent we're getting field tested low float omegas, and a skeleton vanilla is $640. So I am going to have a lot of cheaper options, but I thought it would be good just to showcase how I've been impacted in regards to the things I owned before the update. We are down basically 45% on that combination, and of course the only thing keeping me sane right now is the fact that I got those Pandoras. Now I'm going to go through some of the popular play skin options. So like Scarlet Shamas with a slaughter knife, in this case we've gone for the Nomad. We have seen a almost 48% drop in the value of this to the extent where it's now a $510 combination. Honestly, for $500, if this goes under $500, 100% something that I'd be looking at potentially grabbing, because I feel like this is just such a good combination for the price, especially when you think back to the fact that it was almost $1,000 before. Another one that's gone down nicely is a pair of big games in field tested with a factory new Huntsman Tiger to it. This is now a $380 combo, and beforehand it used to be $700. We were saying for a while that $700 was probably still pretty decent for this, but the fact that you see it under $400 is great. Now, a combination I always love showing when it comes to like cheap combinations, and we used it in last night's video, is the Unhinged and Field Tested with a Survival Vanilla. This has dropped down to be a $150 combination. It is the cheapest combo I am showcasing here today, but I just love for you guys that you can spend $150 and actually get a combination again that looks good. Like, this combination is actually really interesting because the gloves were being market manipulated a few hours before the update by China. So, for example, these Jades are 0.16 slope field tested. Before the update, these had spiked, and I literally watched the CS float page, I watched all the normal listings being bought, to the extent where the cheapest list on the market was a 0.16 field tested pair. I bought them, the guy didn't deliver, so as soon as the update came, I cancelled it, but they've dropped in half since then, and obviously so is the knife. So this is now a $400 combination. This is what I love, because I remember when I got back into CS, one thing actually to note is that the market drop we've seen, the drop when it went from 6 billion market cap to 4 billion market cap, actually just reset us to what it was of December last year before China went crazy with market manipulation. So that first 2 billion drop, I actually wasn't that worried, because I had been saying that the rises we had seen over the last 10 months had essentially been fake rises. It was very obvious manipulation, so that one wasn't too bad. The drop down to a 3 billion market cap, however, was getting us a bit closer to like 2021 prices, closer to COVID prices. So that's just some skill for you guys. If you're thinking that we're back at like 2014 prices, 2016 prices, whatever, like, we're not. But as I said, I remember when I started playing, like, this was kind of the price of this sort of combo, and I thought it was fantastic value for money, and I love that you can get this for $400 again. Now, a very popular one would be Imperial Blades with a Phase 1 Doppler. Previously, this wouldn't have been very budget friendly. It would have been $875. Now, it is $510. Now, I've labeled this as a budget video, not a cheap combo video. There are a lot of very, very cheap combos you can do right now, but I want to also showcase some of the desirable items and just how affordable they have now become. Like Snow Leopards and a Black Laminate, this Snow Leopards had just risen so much over the last year that the extent with this combination was $950. It's now under $500. So if you want white gloves that are just neutral with everything and vibey, you want a nice knife with a good draw animation like this, under $500, like, we're all of a sudden just like, yeah, we might go grab this. Now, I appreciate some of you guys are still looking for maybe your first ever combo and you don't still want to spend $500. So you can spend $175 right now and pick up field tested Desert Shamas, which had started to be manipulated before the update. Thankfully, that's fully reset. And the Stiletto Rust Coat. Like, the Stiletto is an S tier knife. Obviously, Rust Coat, not an S tier finish. It's a mediocre finish, but S tier knife with cool gloves that pair for $175. This is the sort of thing I want to be able to suggest more in the future. Yes, I want the market to rise a little bit and correct itself, but I would still love to be able to do like a under $300 combo video and fill it with great options like this. Now, this is actually the one that went down the least, but it's a very fun combination. It is the overprints in Field Test with a Falchion Gamma Doppler Phase 3. It's a $410 combo. It's a 39.7% drop. I'd say it's the only one. Actually, no, it's the second lowest. There's a lower one. I just spotted. But this is like our second lowest drop so far, and I think it's because the overprint gloves hadn't been manipulated yet. So one of the big things drop-wise was China manipulated majority of the gloves in the game, and that completely got wiped, where the overprints hadn't really been started yet, and that's probably why the rise impact's not as bad. But $410 for this, personally, I would go for the Jade combo with the Phase 2, but if you want better animations in the Huntsman, obviously the Falchion can give you exactly that. Keeping it on the hand wraps, we now have one of my favorite combinations. You guys know I love to suggest it. It is a Caution and Field Test with a black laminate flip knife, also in Field Test. I just like that like yellowy green into the black, keeping the black blade. Vanillas also look really good with this. This is now $280. So again, in that under $300 range, which is really, really nice to see. And one of the most slapped on gloves in the game are the Field Agents. Now, they have an obvious issue. I mention it every time. The thumb wear is evident. You can see it here. You just have to deal with it. It's a thing with specialist gloves. But with the cookery now, blue steel, Field Test it, pairs with the blues and the gloves really well. Fun animations. You can do, yeah, you can still do this one. That's kind of cool. $320. 41% reduction on this. The fact that you're getting like Field Tested, high quality blue specialist gloves in a combo this price, just super good to see. Now, buckshots and a Forest DD-Pat knife, the second cheapest combo we have here, and the one that went down the least. It is Field Tested buckshots, which were still a reasonable price. A couple of days before the update dropped, China had started to manipulate minimal wear buckshots to the extent where they went up like $90 in a few days, but Field Test hadn't really been impacted yet, so this hasn't been dropped too much, but still $165. If you were looking for a sub $200 combo, you don't like the unhinged gloves, this is one to maybe consider. Okay, I got two pairs of Moto Gloves to showcase, and then I've got an S tier combo to end it off. This is the Moto Gloves Blood Pressure in Field Tested with the Earth's Knife Crimson Web in Field Tested, which you can see the blade holds up pretty damn well. $270 combo. Used to be over $500. I think the inside of the palms with the handle color is pretty damn close and looks cool. You do get some animations. I know the Earth's isn't a favorite of everyone's, but again, these combos being under $300 just feels right. And then the other pair of Moto Gloves we have here, yes, look at the animation you get with the Nomad. That was a great time to showcase it. Polygons in Field Tested with the Nomad in blue steel in Field Tested. $318, used to cost $560. So again, you can just see where things are getting a bit more affordable. And the last one is our biggest drop off, but I really want to showcase it because it's amphibious with a flip Phase 3 Doppler. Now, this has gone down at 53%. It is now under $700, and it used to cost almost $1,500. That is the level of some of the drops that we have been seeing. Now, I need to make it very clear, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go and buy these right now, because there is a world where they get lower, but also some people do think that we've maybe hit the floor in a lot of items, and that they can't go much lower. For example, Western markets hadn't been hit as badly on this, but I want to go say check out my new gloves, see what they're now going to sell for, right? If I go here, you can see Buff was selling for 4.1 and CS Slow is 4.7. Obviously, D-Mark is a little bit closer. These are like basically Buff and CS Slow are the two things to check at the minute, and also the Steam market. And I'll also go like Karambit Doppler just to give you guys a bit of an idea. Buff is selling under $1,000, whereas CS Flow is here at $1,300. So there is definitely disparity at the minute between what China's panic selling at and what we have access to on the Western market. And that's why we get left with a bit of uncertainty of what should we be doing. So to give you guys some sort of like context on what I'm going to be doing myself, obviously I don't need to hunt for a new pair of gloves, but I kind of need to hunt for a new knife. On the knife side of things, I am going to be waiting until this time next week where all the trade up items that had trade locks and stuff can be sold, or that people who bought coverts on third-party sites can finally input those for a trade up and that kind of thing. Because I do think there's a potential for a little bit of correction and rise. We've actually seen that this morning. We're back up a little bit on the market cap. There's a chance for a bit of correction and another little small bit of panic. So combo wise for the knife, I'm going to hold out and just see what happens. In the meantime, I'll use my skeleton vanilla. What I am going to be doing though And I want to be very transparent on this with you guys. I am trying to sell my Omega gloves, however, they're well over what the market is right now. We'll see how that goes. You guys can see I have some balance here on float, so what I am going to be doing is basically going through and trying to grab some items that look like they've dropped down. So there were some yesterday that had gone down, obviously for my gloves. Maybe I want a midnight laminate now. Cheapest listed is 35. You can see the sales are really sporadic, but essentially £45. I know I'm in pound, not dollars here, was the floor off this. And I don't know what they sold at yesterday. So we were selling yesterday at 32 yesterday. One sold at 29. So like the absolute lowest yesterday was 30. We're now at 35. I have to weigh up. Do I want to buy this at 35 because it's down £10 to what it was before? Or do I want to wait and see if it can go down any further? And just before I ended up, Onitaji is another great example. I want to pick up one of these to use with my op. If I go to normal and I go lowest, the lowest today is 140. Now there was one listed yesterday for 105. I want to see if it's sold. It might not have sold. We got 137 coming through there. Okay, that person must not have delivered because there was one of these listed at 105, 106, and I was like, damn, if it goes under 100, I'll buy it. Evidently, maybe now I should have bought it. That's kind of what we don't really know where we're settling on things, but I just wanted to let you guys know what I'm doing. If there's an item that you've always wanted or you've been working towards and it's now 50, 60, some things were 70% off, basically, compared to what they had been selling for. If you have the disposable income, you plan on playing Counter-Strike for another couple of years, it might just make sense to grab it and have it. But there we go. That was 15 combinations and a little bit of market waffle at the end for you guys. Hopefully, it was nice to see some more affordable combinations and things not being just stupidly priced. You guys can let me know your favorite combo down below. You can let me know if you think I missed one. I know there are cheaper combos or more cheap combos, but I wanted to try and get a nice mix of different price ranges in here. And before I go, big thank you to the YouTube members as always for continuing to support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.